Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are going to be
Welcome to
reviewing an Ana.
Grayspace.
It's
Our
Diamond, I
aim
believe.
is
If
physical.
you guys are enjoying the
Good.
content,
I'm
please
much
do
better
like and
than you think.
subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. We're trying to get back on this growth cycle, really hit our growth goals here. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what
Five,
rates look like,
4, 3,
see what sort of
2,
promos, events we have
1.
going, all that good stuff.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
Okay. For Ana, coming out here, we have a Mercy partner. Mercy's going to be spending most of her time on the Pharah, and you do have two pretty heavy tanks, so that should be fine.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
Yeah, it's a little dicey. You're going to have to swing further left. I'd like you to swing left to interact with this fight, just based on how this is working. Your Hog is holding this left for you. I'd like you to be here. It's going to give you the better angle onto the fight, including your Reinhardt, as opposed to here, but that's okay. Ooh. That's a little scary. So you just sort of rotated across point here, and I actually didn't need you to take that risk of rotating across point here, letting potentially a Tracer come find you, letting potentially Pharah shoot at you, letting Hog maybe see you. You were able to contribute from here reasonably, and you weren't going to get pushed by this Hog without warning at least, because your Hog was in here and you knew that. So use the fact that your Hog is here, play from here where you can have your meaningful impact, or even from here where you started, but I'd have preferred from here because I think you wanted the extra ability to influence your Reinhardt.
You're going
The
to be
objective
okay.
is now.
Okay.
I require medical attention.
Oh, and we're going back across point? Oh boy. You just missed the sleep. Not a big deal. Yep. I see you're concerned about your Reinhardt is wandering left and right across well here, and that's a little annoying for you because you'd like to go, well, do I stay with him or do I stay back? But we sort of covered it as it became appropriate. Ooh, are we going to make swaps or are we just grouping up? Grouping up. Okay. Mercy had him, but that's fine.
You're going to be okay.
Step right.
Okay. Great idea.
I'm here.
You're gonna have to slide left. Okay. I don't really care about this Tracer if this Tracer leaves, so I actually do want to be working your way left. Your Reinhardt is moving a lot, but like, I don't necessarily want to push this Tracer so much as I want to defend myself from this Tracer as I wander my way this way so that I can then go, okay, can I be relevant to the fight? Can I heal my Reinhardt who was here, is now forward up here? Okay, that's fine. Ooh, throwing the nade offensively. Okay, you still have the sleep, it's fine. We'll live. Okay, we won't actually live, we'll actually take a trip to Spawn Broom, but not the end of the world that happened.
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
Maybe I should just make that a thing. Every time someone takes a trip to the Spawn Room, say we'll live. The exact opposite of true.
You're covered.
Heroes.
Okay.
Name.
I don't actually... The sleep was just there. Of course you were going to take it. I don't have an issue with that. I don't love this nade, truth be told. And the reason for that is I'm not convinced that your team is going to be able to follow up on it. And I know you're now leaving yourself without any cooldowns. And I don't know where the Tracer is. So you're leaving yourself with no cooldowns. You're leaving yourself with both cooldowns 10 seconds away. And even if you'd hit this nade, I don't think anyone was going to be able to follow up and eliminate this hog. You were going to waste his breather, but I don't think you're actually going to get the elimination out of it, and now you have no tools to defend yourself. Now, on the plus side, you're pretty close to your team. Your team does have Velt going, so if you can catch back up to your team, you should be relatively safe. But I still think my answer is no in this situation, which, unfortunate.
Get back in the fight.
If you were still in the Valk, my answer would have probably been yes. And if your team had better angles on that hog, or even was just paying more attention to the hog besides just your Junkrat, my answer probably would have been yes. You're not hearing the Tracer? Or if you are, oh no, you heard it. You just chose not to react. Hey, Mystery!
We still need you.
Be stopped.
Okay, you tried. But why? This happened. You're choosing to heal the McCree during this.
We still
Why? Why are we here? What is this getting us? Why is being here better than just being here? From here, you have that cover, you have that. Yes, there's a Tracer wandering around in here, or there was, but I'm not too worried because you have the McCree and the Junkrat controlling it. And if the Tracer jumps on you, there's pretty much no way the Tracer can jump on you, that these two can't see the Tracer and give her a hard time. So, I don't like that you're just wandering out here onto the point, and you don't have to contest the point. They have full control of the point. It's not like you're stopping it from flipping. So, just hold your cover. Hold your cover. You tried. You tried. Mm-hmm. Look left, look left. Mm-mm. You see bullet trails and Tiert coming from the left there. You know there's a threat there. You don't have the wall hacks we do to see the Tracer, but Reinhardt is shielding in this direction as he walks. This direction is handled. Even if there's things shooting at your Reinhardt from here, which there are, you don't care. Your Reinhardt is handling that, so you don't need to protect this direction. You don't need to be ready to pre-heal your Reinhardt. He has still lots of shield. You need to be keeping this direction honest as you walk across it. You need to have your weapon play, have your weapon aimed in this direction, at least until you confirm that there's nothing there, so that you're not behind if something starts shooting at you from this direction. Having your weapon aimed in a direction is a defense. It's not a super strong defense, but it is a defense. And the direction you are defending is this, and I don't care that your Reinhardt took a little extra damage here. He still has plenty of shield. He's in no danger. And you transition through that space not looking at the threat.
This will help. You're covered.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see how we use this nano. Mm-hmm. Fine.
Get in there.
Okay.
Walk it off.
I don't... You don't want the round end without using your nano here, but you know that your McCree is using High
You're
Noon.
powered up. Get in there.
You may have not realized Shadow was being used here, but you do know that your Rhine doesn't have charge. So it's like, is your Rhine going to be able to get on good targets with this nano? This nano isn't amazing. It's not. Like, this Rhine isn't already swinging. Rhine is in general an okay nano target, but if you're going to nano your Rhine after he's on top of the Sigma, great. Right here, I'm not sure he can get on top of the Sigma unless he uses Shatter, and I don't care if my Shatter does more damage or not. At this moment, I'm actually more interested in, like, hey, what else can we potentially get off? Now, you're just going, it's last fight, I have to dump the ult, I get that. And it is last fight, and your McCree did go down. Yeah, I'll live. There's nothing better. Even in a second, it would be better, but you know, this McCree's been... Okay, I'm going to live. It's not a fantastic nano. I'd have preferred even a nano on your Kree, for example, but he's gone. Really?
Overtime.
Step right.
Get in there.
Okay.
Walk it off.
Yeah. I'm okay with that nade. I don't love the nade because now I feel like you just don't have enough abilities left. You don't have enough tools left to win this battle. That's a lot of investments that you've made. But there was reasonable chances that this was going to get healed by the other Ana, etc. if you didn't. So, okay.
Get back in.
Mm-hmm. What? Why are you so far out? Why?
Get back in.
Okay. Why are you out here? Why are you standing here? What are you looking for? Why are you here? No. Your cover was right here, where you're having sniping wars with Deanna, where you could heal your Reinhardt. You can wrap up here and do work. Like, you don't need to just be drifting out onto the point like this. That's not what we need. You might need to touch the point if you think your Reinhardt's going to go in here to try to win things. You might need to touch the point, but you're spending an awful lot of time out here. You do some deep wanders. Slow sleep dart.
Helden sterben nicht.
NaNoRyan is overrated. Give it to Lucio. I almost called for that. I did. But Lucio doesn't really need it either. It's just a defense increase for him because his limbs are going to come from the boops on this map. So, like, giving it to him when he's only going to get the damage reduction. Now, the damage reduction lets him get more aggressive, but it doesn't lower his boop cooldown or increase the boop distance. Maybe you talked about this, but curious if there are playstyle changes you would recommend on Koth with Ana, like playing tighter to team, finding one teammate to buddy up with, Kree-Hog, etc. No, I mean, Koth does tend to have shorter sight lines than other map types, so yes, sometimes you do end up in situations where it more frequently makes sense to rotate with your team more tightly, but that's not a strict hard rule. There's still places, like on this map, you can play from high ground that, hey, that can work. But in Koth, you do in general get stuck playing a little more tightly with your team just because Koth is designed that it has, in most situations, shorter sight lines. I'm not necessarily going to say, hey, that's on Koth automatically do this playstyle wise, though, because, again, it's not a universal truth. Ruins, for example, has longer sight lines. Now, those aren't necessarily Ana longer sight lines, but as an example, it has longer sight lines. Sanctum has much longer sight lines, and those are longer Ana sight lines. So it's not strictly a Koth thing, but yes, Koth tends to be shorter sight lines, and that tends to force a little more with team rotations. No, Lucio's damage is fine, Nordstorm, but let's be serious. On Well, his eliminations are still going to... Lucio's damage is fine if the player can actually land shots with Lucio, which too many can't, up to a very high level. And while that's true, you can get solid damage out of Lucio's shots if you're comfortable with aiming them. On that map, the limbs are still going to come from dumping them in the pit. Lucio's DPS has always been respectable, and it's always had to be, because you have to remember, since the beginning of the game, Lucio has been the peel support for Ana, Zen, etc. And what that means is that Lucio has to be able to duel out tracers and such. And can he truly do it in a vacuum? No, but he's doing enough damage and being a good enough duelist that he's able to do it with a little bit of help, or he's able to do it when he's not the one who's being jumped. Okay. Okay, you're caught in the middle here. You can go for the mini?
I've seen worse. You're going to live.
Yeah, you're gonna let Lucio do it. Fine. Do I want to go over that again? It's your opening fight. You went for the sleep, and that's fine. You cut line of sight on your team to do it, but that's what going for aggressive angles to use abilities sometimes looks like. Mm-hmm. You're rotating over to be with your team. It really did put you in the open quite a bit here. I'm actually surprised that you didn't nade here. Like, I am surprised that we didn't get a nade.
I've seen worse. You're going to live.
And I would have... Yeah, okay, I'll deal. Okay, too deep. Ooh, okay. You see how you're just sort of hanging in the open again? Like, I'm worried because I know what the flank routes on this map are. Enemies could come from here, enemies could come from here, or enemies could come from here. And you've just hung in the open here for a fair amount of time. And let's rewind this and watch this from a third-person view so you sort of can more obviously see what I'm feeling uncomfortable about. So this is fine. Okay, you're transitioning forward to somewhere. Fine. Where? Where are you transitioning forward to? Where? Where are you going? Where? You're doing the Anna version of the Rhine dance. You haven't figured out where your new place to play from is yet. And that's silly, because there's plenty of things you could have done. You could have gone, okay, well, given that this is a flank route, this is a flank route, and this is a flank route, I would like to play from here. I would like to play even tighter with my team from here. I would like to get more up here. No, I was quite happy back on point. But here, you're just sort of existing in open space where you're exposed. Where enemies could show up and you'd have to like run to join your team. Well, if running to join your team was going to be your safety, we'll be here. If distance was going to be your safety, we'll be here. Like, if you want to just have cover against the routes that they could show up from, you could be here. And this would give you a bit of an angle, too, when they tried to push in if your team fell back. Good sleep.
It's off.
Okay, you're using your team as your friends now,
To be okay.
or as your cover. And now are we going to use real cover as cover? Okay. Why, though? Why did you jump out here to heal when a second ago you were here and you had the exact same options? You had the exact same options from here, except you had cover, as you did from out here. Oh my goodness. Why? Oh, are we going to go somewhere? Okay. You keep making me think you have plans for where you want to play. Do you want to play here? Do you want to play here? Do you want to play here? What's this? Ooh, 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 ooh. No.
Step.
And your team is going to rotate, and you have to predict your team's rotations and potentially keep rotating to new places that you'll be able to play from that are good when your team continues to rotate. So I don't mind you seeming to move quite a bit, but I don't want this backward-forward dance in the open, this left-right dance in the open. It could be I'm here, and then I'm here for less than a second, and maybe I rotate back to here because my team is shifting. Or maybe I'm here, and within 3/4 of a second, I've rotated over to here because, or I'm rotating over to here. So it might seem like I'm moving the whole time, but I'm not actually moving the whole time. And I'm always, if I am moving, aware of the next place I'm trying to get to. Whereas you're sort of doing this like, okay. Let me catch up on chat. What do we have? Lucio damage is unrespected. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe a random question. If we are losing, but I almost have my ult, do I wait for ult and switch? That answer is entirely too game dependent and complicated. Does the hero that you're on sort of work in the new comp that your team is trying to run? Does the hero you're running sort of work enough to justify if you get your ult and then by the time you go down again are 50-60% of your ult to justify staying on? Like, how good is the hero you're on versus the hero that you're going to swap to? It's both into the enemy comp and for making your team's comp work. Nordstorm is answering fine. No, Becky, if you're Sigma and your team is losing to Pharmacy, the only hero you can swap to that really makes a difference is D.Va. And you can swap to D.Va if you want to answer that, but I probably wouldn't throw away Flux to win. I'd look to take a fight quickly and try to win it with Flux. And if you win the fight with Flux, no problem. If you don't win the fight with Flux, you're taking a trip back to spawn and you get to swap to D.Va. But if you win the fight with Flux, it's not like you're now on a throw pick playing Sigma into them because you just won the fight and hey, no, it shouldn't be a throw. Sigma's not amazing against Pharmacy. I wouldn't waste a bunch of time shooting at Pharmacy as Sigma, but again, the only tank hero that's decent at dealing with Pharah really is going to be, let me rephrase that. The only one who really makes it her responsibility to deal with Pharah consistently is D.Va. So unless you were going to swap to D.Va, who cares? If D.Va's really crushing your team, sure, make the swap, but I would instead with Flux because of the value of the ult, the strength of the ult, the reliability of winning a team fight with the ult, and the minimal amount of setup cooldowns you have to get out from the enemy before you can get value out of Flux, I would just look to Flux the next fight. Assuming you have it. If you're at like 50% to it, no, just go D.Va, assuming you've got a window. Temporal reading the chat. It happens sometimes. Helixo is right there. You can run over the ground team, and that's sort of what I'm recommending with the Flux play. I mean, you can counter Pharmacy teams with Reaper May. It's quite hilariously fun actually to counter Pharmacy teams with Reaper May. Just go, we are going to play in closed space. Like we are going to go. We'll play on point. We'll play on point. We'll play on point. You're coming up with your Reinhardt, with your Zarya, with your Ball, whatever, with your McCree, whatever, and you have a Pharmacy in the sky. 3, 2, 1, speed boost, run them over, absolutely crush them, and now hide back in here. And now we have recharge our shield, get our speed back, etc. And now we're going to just, with our shields and everything, rotate back to point, etc. And the Pharah never did anything because you just wiped their team out within a 5-6 second window, and Pharah couldn't trade back more than one elimination in that time. Anyway, back to our Ana review.
My shots find their marks. Get back in the fight.
My sound barrier is almost ready.
Enemy called my ultimate is charged.
Okay. We have our pillar. We're pushing up. You're going to get a good nano and just win here. Never mind. You don't need it anymore and you recognize that. Kinda doing it again. Doing your circles. Doing your circles. Maybe your thought was I'm wandering back to point now, but could have been here. Could have been playing from here. Could have been playing from here. I think you thought this was your cover, and that was sort of okay cover, but then you wandered away from it, did circles, etc.
could be Lily.
No?
Get healed.
Why? Why are you here? Your options were to either go, I'm going to play from here, where I can try to do some work with my rifle and be like, yeah, I'm doing this, etc. Or to go, oh yeah, my Reaper's taking this, I'm going to push through with my Reaper, where I have an aggressive angle and my Rhine is going to push through and join. But like, I'm going to hit my sneaky nade from here, I'm going to do that work, etc. So like, this was your aggressive option, where you're yelling at your Rhine to push, you hit the nade, your nade still gets the Rhine. If the Rhine does push, he gets heals, you do good work. This was your more passive option, where you went, I'm going to stay back here, I'm going to do this, I'm still going to get some rifle play done. Yes, this is scary, but these were your two options. Instead, you're here? Like, I'm going to run in to nade my Reinhardt, and in doing so, put myself in the opposing Reinhardt swing range and give the McCree a clear shot at me? What? Here you are. You see that Reaper's secured that for you. Like, he's losing, but he's securing that for you. You gave him the heal. You see this. Your Reinhardt is fine. Your Reinhardt is fine. Yes, you know that there's something up here, and you don't like that there's something up here. I totally get that. I totally do get that. That doesn't mean run out here. That still means play the corner and be ready to dart in here. Or you could rotate out to here. But, like, this or this really are the two angles that I expect you to play from right now. I just don't understand why you're walking forward. Like, they're not at 99% or anything, and even if they were, it's not your job to touch. No. No. No.
Get healed.
This isn't some like, oh, I needed to nade myself and I decided to get my Reinhardt because he needed the amp heal effect. He might need the amp heal effect, but you didn't need to nade yourself. This was a from back here nade to try to get him and the other Reinhardt, or better yet, nade from here to try to get the other Reinhardt and maybe him. This was not. No, you're just putting yourself in the middle of this fight. Yeah, that was a threat. Like, your rotation was no. Does not compute.
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
High ground, I like high ground. You're gonna go with your Rhine instead. Okay.
You're powered up.
Fine.
Get in there.
Okay.
I see. You're going to. Fire.
Move to the beat.
Watching your back. You're going to be okay.
Spend time in the middle of the lane. You're doing it. You're doing this. Huzzah! 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 What's your plan? What's your cover? Where do enemies come from? Now, yes, the enemies are still about 2-3 seconds away, and you know that, but why are you hanging out here? Yes, it's safe for about 2 to 3 more seconds, but why? Why even let this become a habit? Okay. I don't actually want you here. You want to be aware right now that the cap is at 92%. The opponents don't have the option to fight your team out here. The opponents have to fight on point, and you're on point. And again, the opponents to win the fight, the opponents to not lose, rather, have to touch the point, and they would like to take you out because you will keep your team alive through a lot of damage. We don't want to give them both of their win condition things, both of the things that they need to do in the same place, because then they can dedicate less resources. They can dedicate a resource to both touch the point to make sure they don't lose and to take you out, or at least tie you up so that they can win the fight elsewhere. And we don't want to do that. We want to be somewhere else so that they have to pick which of those they're going to do with a resource. So, you could have rotated it up here. You did have time earlier. But if that was something that you didn't want to do, that's fine. You just play pillar. You just play pillar here and go, yep, this is fine. If my team is going to play up here, I'm going to play pillar here. I can do my work. And if they want to come get me, that's not great, but I'll live with it. But it means they're not dedicating that person to the point. You're giving them both win conditions here. Make them take devil's trades instead when you're at 92 like this.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Огонь по готовности. Bedtime.
Hmm.
Get healed. Get healed.
No?
Bedtime.
I don't really want you walking in to nade this. Your Reaper's perfectly fine. You don't need to nade this. You can nade this, but you don't need to walk here to nade this. This is no.
Get healed.
Yeah, that just got you hit with a hammer. Doesn't matter because it was the only one, but it could have. Okay, so biggest thing we're seeing is some rotational stuff, some hanging out in the open stuff, not using cover. I'm calling that one umbrella category right now, and it's not just use cover. It's like you're not realizing that you're, I think, getting caught in no man's space as your team is sort of moving, readjusting, etc. And that's not surprising. That's about in Diamond where I see Anna start to run into that sort of issue. That becomes the adjustment they need to make. So I'm not too surprised to see that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 3. Capture the objective.
Check this out. Audio.
Okay. You're rotating with the team, fine. You went for the off-angle nade, great. Fine, you can play here simply because if you back up, you give them an angle on you. Yeah.
The objective is now active.
Not a big deal.
Old soldiers are hard to kill. You're going to be okay.
Okay, this is fine. You're about to get an off-angle nade. It's going to be wonderful.
Die healed.
Yay! Good. Okay, are you sure that to your right is clear, though? Have you checked? Okay.
You're going to be okay.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Take your medicine. This will help.
I don't think you needed that. I think you could have healed his hitbox just fine by shooting at, say, his hand. Okay. Nano, yep.
Get in there.
It's going to be tough. Maybe we shouldn't have ended there, but it was close enough.
You're going to be okay.
Okay. Okay, you probably noticed this has felt a lot better this round here, other than that first fight, even though you lost that one, because you've had sort of positioning that you could use. You've had that off-angle position that lets you sort of slide up and rotate with. And you could say, oh, but I've just not been under pressure. Well, yeah, but that's because you've been playing from a place with cover, and you just have to adjust your cover. Like you were sliding up along the thing, like the team fight was happening here and here or whatever, and you were in this lane, and you were just sliding up and down the lane as you needed to. That's fine. Now you just need to go without the guardrails. So you're sliding up the lane becomes like, okay, well, I go play from here. Now I go play from here. Now I guess I readjust and play from here. Like it needs to be more like that. Here on this, you were just able to stop wherever because you sort of had cover. Here, you need to go like, okay, I have more set places that I can sort of go to. And I can turn a lot of things into places, but there are still a limited number and I need to think about them a little more. Okay. You can rotate with them. You're gonna nade now. Good sleep, good nade. Nade was perhaps a touch early, but only a touch. You didn't immediately nade. You did wait for some damage to come in.
F it up.
Team hadn't earned this yet, so you're gonna have to step for the mega. Ooh boy.
Healing enough. You're covered.
Good. You actually cleared it with your weapon play there. That was good.
No one can hide.
Better than earlier.
Oh,
Good.
you look tired.
It's a lot of wasted time making decisions.
Get back in the fight.
Okay, your Reinhardt's not in so much danger
Oh,
to
you look
prioritize.
tired.
I'm gonna get into shot selection because why not? This was a lot of wasted time where you didn't do anything with your rifle. I don't mind putting a shot into your Reinhardt here.
Get back in the fight.
I do mind not putting the next shot into your Lucio. Like, the next shot should be in your Lucio. Your Reinhardt is not in that much danger right now. Whereas your Lucio could get picked out by, say, a Widow. Yeah, you just don't care about your Lucio. Poor guy.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. Absolutely not. You know that there's a Widow, and you should have a good idea that she's probably shooting from here. Maybe here, but here. And yes, your Widow's keeping her distracted, but like... why? Let your Widow deal with it. Like, yes, you can do it. You can take shots at her while your Widow is taking shots if you really think she's looking at your Widow. But you've already won this team fight. You don't need to take down this Widow to win this team fight. Like, this isn't the worst thing in the world, but I would really prefer that this be done if you have to do this to get the lead in the team fight when you've already won the team fight. And I know you're trying to go, no, but I'm doing this to win the next team fight, and she's definitely looking at my Widow. And yes, she is, but if that's the case, I would still prefer a bigger swing in terms of where you're aiming from. That said, she's not going to see you. Okay, dropped, good. Okay.
I will keep you here.
Well, I don't know, if Gamebuster's playing Ana, Lucio will probably get all the heals, since that's apparently Lucio's first target to put the crosshair over. Mm-hmm. It's an even fight. You've got to get this Nano out. Okay, now you don't have to. Yeah.
Watching your back.
Let's up the tempo. Audio medic.
Don't do it. Okay. If you're going to try this, you can try to shoot her through the Rhine shield, but I hope you're communicating with your Rhine.
Feeling sleepy.
There! I like it. I like it. Good sleep. Nade was fine.
This will help.
Okay.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Yeah. That's fine. That Nano is fine with me. I've actually been a little annoyed with how long you've held on to some of your nanos. This is fine. This fight is happening. They have to be pushing. Your McCree has the range to take advantage of it, and he's going to push that Widow. Yeah. Close the angle of that window immediately. Oh, did he take that as an excuse to electric cowboy? Here we are. Okay. Okay. You got a little work done.
Good for you. I'll make an exception.
Wrong Anna.
Don't like shooting the lady.
Hi. I have your back.
Play to the right of the pillar. Right of the pillar. Play on this pillar? Okay.
Heal up.
Okay. Has nano.
Watching your
Has
back.
nano. Doesn't have nano.
Wheel it be.
Doesn't. Where was our previous nano used?
Get in
Not
there.
remembering enough nano contribution. This nano, yes, we did this nano. Nanos on this one were fine. And no, you weren't holding it. Okay, that's good.
Ready for battle.
Did we get a nano here?
Ready for
Keep you healed.
I don't know why this keeps on pausing.
I've seen it.
greetings.
My sound barrier.
Okay. So that's why I'm feeling like I didn't see enough nanos, because there was a pretty long stretch on this point where we didn't see the nano used while he had it.
The objective. 3. Ready. Ready for score.
Stop unpausing. Okay, that one wasn't as bad, so it was mostly the second map. Okay. Okay, so the biggest thing for you to advance with on your Ana here is going to be sort of understanding your positioning and what your positioning looks like when your team moves, or when you expect your team to move. So you struggled with it, at least on Ruins here, because Ruins just sort of gives you some better positioning to play with, and you even sort of were naturally getting it right a little bit at the end here with, hey, I have this cover here, I have this cover here, I have this here. I'll play a little more with my Reinhardt in this type of situation. Like, you were getting it more right here, but on the previous two maps, you were struggling with where to position, and that you were spending a lot of time just hanging out in the open. And it might not have felt open, but it is open space because you know what the flank routes are. You don't have a corner that you can immediately get onto. You're a second, 2 seconds from cover against directions that you could expect enemies to come from. So that's something that I'm going to want you to be more aware of. And that's a little more of an ethereal point maybe than I sometimes make in these, but I think you're smart enough to understand what I'm talking about. We did some pretty good examples of it on Lighthouse where, hey, you do want to understand, you don't just want to be in the open there. You want to have these things that you can use cover, that you're acting around and doing in, that you're acting around and you're transitioning to. And you might almost constantly be transitioning between 2 or 3 different places because of how your team is moving, but that shouldn't end up looking like, ooh, I'm just doing little circles. That should be a, here's a thing, here's another thing, here's another thing. Okay, I'm here, now I'm here. 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 And if that's move, 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 so be it. But it shouldn't be this. It should actually be moves between these spots. Hope that makes sense. You're going to have a much easier time. You're going to feel in less trouble. You also had that really weird push into the Rhine v Rhine for you to nade that I think you just get magnetized into fights a little bit, and I think that's contributing to your sort of circle thing. You maybe feel like there's a set distance you should be from fights, and then you're sort of closing in on them sometimes. I don't know exactly what happened there. It wasn't a constant thing that you were running into melee range when you didn't need to, but that Rhine nade was really, really weird. I think you were probably just going, oh, it's the Hanzo, the Mercy boosted Hanzo on the roof, so I don't want to be here, but it was definitely the place to be. We definitely covered the two corners for you to play from there. You did hold Janano a little long on that point. We saw that, but I would have to go reanalyze. Wait, was there actually an opportunity to use it? Almost certainly there was a reasonable time, but it's a diamond game, so that's not necessarily true. It may have been appropriate to hold it, and I'm not going to go reanalyze it there. So we're mostly going to leave this as one major takeaway here. Usually I'll give people 2 or 3, but I think that is the one that is going to clear the most up for you. Again, it was really weird what she went and did with your nade there. And then you had a couple other minor things that we could get into, like, hey, you're spending your nade on the hog when your team's not going to be able to finish him, things that we could definitely get into. But I really actually do want you focusing on this positioning because it showed up, and it showed up hard as the biggest thing for you to work on in this game. So try to keep that in mind. You shouldn't just exist in open space. You shouldn't be doing Anna's version of the Rhine dance. You should be transitioning from cover to cover to cover. And if your cover is your team, so be it, play with your team, but you still should know where other cover is. And if that is the case, play with your team. Don't play 15 steps back of your team. Okay, if people have questions, go ahead and throw them in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on. Right now, you guys can react if you like to an event we have in event planning that'll be internal scrims. I'd like to see a few more people commit to dates and times before we finalize the actual specific one it's going to be, because I'm just not seeing quite enough votes to be comfortable that, oh yeah, we're going to have this and it's going to be a blast quite yet. So if that's something you guys are interested in, please do go react in the Discord there. Okay, what do we see here? I think you guys are still talking mostly about pharmacy stuff, which, there wasn't a ton of pharmacy to pay attention to in this game, so I'm not sure why, but hey. People still haven't decided whether they like or dislike the video. Maybe Temporal needs to make funny faces for people to decide. Does he now? Does he? Okay. Well, I think you guys should like the video. I just think you should do that, because if you don't, my feelings are going to be hurt, and that would be bad. Don't let my feelings be hurt. Like the video. Okay. We're VOD reviewing Becky's game in this chat. Yeah, that's kind of what happened. There we go. D.Va vs. Pharmacy is 1 hero versus 2. Yeah, what you're trying to do in the D.Va vs. Pharmacy matchup isn't to consistently eliminate them. Not sure why we're talking about this here, but we'll do it. But instead, what you're looking to do is go, here's my team of 5. Here's the opposing team somehow. Maybe they're split up, maybe they're together, whatever. Here's the opposing Pharah plus Mercy. Here is our D.Va with our team of 5. We have some sort of cover. And my team is going to explosively go try to fight this, or it's going to go try to win the fight with these guys, while my D.Va intentionally goes, her job is to go, I'm going to block off the contribution of these two heroes for 3 to 5 seconds. So that's going to be, I'm going to boost at them, I'm going to DM, I'm going to undm, I'm going to DM, and then I'm going to sort of like fall back on my team and maybe I'm going to DM again for another tick, etc. It's like minimize their contribution, make them do almost nothing for 3 to 5 seconds. In shooting at your mech and getting your mech from 600 health to 400 health counts as them doing nothing, as long as you get out alive with your mech. While your team tries to use those 5 seconds to leverage their 6v5 to win. But your team has to be on the same page. D.Va cannot block out Pharah forever, and D.Va shouldn't be interested in blocking Pharah out forever. D.Va is very much in a, I am going to specifically look to go, I want to keep them, I want to minimize their value for like 5 seconds. Minimizing their value for 5 seconds is a win, and I can't do it forever, but I want a long 5 seconds, so I don't want to have like no DM when my team is ready to make my play. I want the team to have full DM, and I want to be coming from the direction of my team because that'll block the most rockets. Okay. Maybe we'll get some more Ana questions here. You guys are talking about that. Just going to 100% focus Lucios in every game that you plan to have VOD reviewed, Gamebuster. Okay, okay. That's going to do it. Okay, that's going to do it for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys later. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.